folks! Welcome back. My name is Rudy. You're watching Alpha Investments. Sit back, relax for a conversation on old Mujik the Uglioing today. I apologize for the delay. Before we hop into the video, this was a small collection purchase, very small collection purchase here. I think this transaction took place here in Florida 3 months ago. Like I said, I apologize. I'm pretty far behind, so bear with me. So some of the things might be a little funky or a little off or things like that, but filming this a little bit later, 2 months later. But anyways, so today's conversation is going to be around the state of some of these different sets. Kind of my thought process, what's going on before we get into the video. Remember, folks, everything you see in these videos are not for sale. I appreciate the contacts as always. If you're looking to sell some old cards, Flesh and Blood Code Foils, MetaZoo Serial cards, or Magic the Gathering Vintage Reserve List, or a sealed product that's out of print, AlphainvestmentsLLC at gmail.com. The old PP. Nothing creepy. Pictures and prices. And we'll see if we can get you on the channel and have some fun. And you can have a safe, risk-free transaction. I'll pay you 1 cent on the dollar, and everybody will be like, wow! No, I'm kidding. Usually averages between about 60-65% of gross sold prices. Anyways, so let's start off into it, folks. First, we got one graded card. Again, you guys know I prefer to buy raw cards. That's what she said, more so than graded. Graded, the premiums, and the people, it just gets too much. I love raw cards. Now, again, always exceptions, PSA 10s and things, but I don't really talk about PSA 10s much anymore because, well, they're flipping impossible to get nowadays. Like, when I see a card like this, if I see a 7, I treat this as a light play near mint card. I don't care what the grade says. I don't care what anything else says, but if their surface has if any of the grades are 7 or below, remember, whatever the major grade is, you can always have one that's up to 1 whole point less. That means there's some sort of there's a dent or some sort of binder ding on this particular card. I really can't see much because there's a lot of dirt and dust on this. But overall, I consider this a light play LP, SP, or near mint minus. I really wouldn't consider this more a near mint to mint. But anyways, Time Vault, one of my favorite Magic cards of all time. Unlimited, one of my favorite Magic sets of all time. Remember, folks, we have ABU, you have Collector's Edition, International Collector's Edition. This is Unlimited is the only one out of those 5 sets that has white-bordered cards. That's all I gotta say. All right, moving on, folks. Next, we got a little brick of the old Arabian, little Arabian Nights. Little friends become enemies. Little enemies become friends. We got a little mountain over here. We got a little sword play downstairs. Okay, folks. We got a very well-loved mountain here. Again, none of these cards are gradable and minty. Who cares? We got nice mountains. God, I still think it's hilarious that there's one basically in Arabian Nights and a slip through. It's hilarious. All right. Anyway, Sorceress Queens. We got Ubaletis and Abilets. We got Jeweled Bird because you're gambling and Magic the Uglioing. We got King Solomon, Ring of Rudy, which costs 1 billion mana, but still not a bad card. That's a card that I was really surprised. Even when I price checked this thing back a couple months ago, I was really surprised how much the old alley has gone up. This was like $100 to $200. This was like a $150 card for, God, I swear, like 10 years, man. But this is one of the cards from the very beginning. When 93, 94 and the set literally came out, this was still something that people loved from day one. That was always a very special card. Stone Throwing Devils. This might be one of the banned sensitive culture 2020 world is upside down. I think this is one of the banned sensitivity cards because they're like pink guys with evil faces and they're wearing little clothes things and throwing. I don't know what the deal is, but apparently, what is that? Like a bunch of, is that like pitchforks? Like a Reddit mob? I don't know what it is. Anyways, one of the banned cards again, folks. If you're collecting sets and you're into stuff, that's great. If you're into the banned cultural sensitive cards, I would not specifically invest in a card or target a card because Wizards, disowned it, or, you invoke the P, or I guess the Gypsies, or Crusade because it's a white card, or, the Devils, I don't know, maybe it's black, or I don't know, the guys are pink. I don't know. Pink guys, I don't know. Pink dudes. Point is, I wouldn't go out of your way to seek out cards that you want to, quote unquote, invest or collect just because they are that. Now, if you're looking as a basket or to collect a set or invest in a set of something, yes, then make sure you complete the set with the cards. But I have no problems with it. It's been around for 30 years. Who cares? But just don't seek it out and use that as a reason to invest. That's silly. We had a signed card, the infamous Brian's signature. It looks like a flipping tic-tac-toe signature. Oasis. Oh, look. Desert. Mirage Desert and non-Mirage Desert. We got both versions of the deserts here. You got the little reflecting little dude there, and you got the non. Okay. Again, not much to say on Arabian Nights. We've talked about it a billion times in probably at least 50 different videos over the years. Arabian Nights remains No, Rudy says it's museum quality. Well, you know, your stepsister and Arabian Nights, they're both museum quality. I stand by that. And I still think they're underpriced. I still think it's too cheap. And the fact that some of these cards, like, what sorts? I mean, some of these cards have been so cheap for so many years, and now it's like, oh, well, that card's like $50 or $100. No card should be over 30, 40. Ooh, it's cardboard with ink. Oh, please, moving on. All right, folks, we got over here. You know what's crazy? I don't know what Great Escape is, but I have seen these price stickers on Great Escape, that name. I don't know who that is or what store or online, but I have seen that name so many times in collections on YouTube in the last 6 years. That's all I have to say. I don't know. Anyways, so we got Helm of Obedience over here. I wish it was $20. It's not. Oh my God, that's funny. Look at that. So hold on a second. I just noticed this. So Helm of Obediences were $20, but Force of Will was $60. You know what's crazy? Is this dated? Is that February 18, 2012? What are the dates on these? 2018? Really? Okay. That's crazy. Like, even in 2022, I think like a light played Force of Will, I think the buy list is still around. The $60 hasn't even changed. And this is 2012? So in 10, that's so crazy. Like, people don't talk about that. Like, some cards like this, not reserve list, like 10 years ago, if this is, again, I could be screwing this up and that may not be the date. It just looks like February 18, 2012. But that's crazy that 10 years later, the price is essentially flat. And if you adjust for inflation, this card has depreciated over 10 years. That's crazy, man. Isn't that wild to think that? And then you have something like Helms, which were $20, like if assuming that's the date, in 2018. And they've, 2, 3, 4x type thing. Isn't that crazy to see how markets and perspectives change over time? And we talk about that on this channel, folks. Just because it's an old card or just because it's a Magic card doesn't mean it's going to be worth a lot of money. We've talked about this. Like 95+% of all Magic cards in MTG history have no value. People are like, oh, my friend's aunt's got an attic with a basement and a sex dungeon and all kinds of creepy things and lotions and baskets, and they got Magic cards in there. Well, I mean, if it's literally full of basic lands, it's worthless. If it's got 2 cards like this, it's worth a lot. People don't realize most Magic cards don't have value. Most sports cards don't have value. Most of Rudy's X's don't have value. Most things, are not valuable. The things that have the value are the rare, tough-to-get versions. And that's always a weird thing to me. All right, we're going over to the old Antiquities. I know, tons of speculation, Brothers War, new standard set. We gotta speculate on Antiquities. We think all kinds of shenanigans are coming. Artifacts and throwback versions and, remastered this and that, shooting star foils. And I look, that's great and all, but I've been on YouTube for, 3,000 videos. I've been telling you all, this is a 4 Horsemen set, Antiquities, Arabian, Legends, Dark. And, original, these are original. HP? Is that HP? Yeah, that's HP. Original cards like this remain cheap. Oh, Power Leech. Okay. Anything else in here? Okay. Titania Song, Crumble, nothing to talk about. I do want to talk about Gate to Phyrexia, Druid, Tablets, Ornithopter. Okay, nothing else there. So obviously, since I did this collection 3 months ago, in the last few weeks, there was a Power Leech buyout. So you can tell the timing difference on this video. Power Leech, even on buy list, Power Leech was like, I don't even think the buy list was like $5. I think it was $5. Or maybe $5 to $7 a card. And these things were like $9 or something. I don't remember. Yeah, that'd be right, because it's a $5 buy list. TCG player would be probably like $8 to $9. Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, it's crazy. And it's a good textbook example of how quick things can change in this world. People are like, oh, I remember that. And then it changes. Again, these are other 2 ones. So if you look in the history of this channel, I believe these 3 cards are all Antiquity cards I've done specific videos on, just on these cards. I've done an investment buyout from another evil investor on just Power Leech. I did remember the Sentinel Druid? A couple hundred copies from another investor from years ago, probably 3, 4, 5 years ago. And these were a couple dollars a card also. That one might even have inking. I'm seeing some dark edging. See how white that is? And that might even be a little ink spot. Then we've got Gate to Phyrexia. Never did a buyout on this. Or not a buyout. I never bought out an investor. But I was thinking about it. I was like, this is just one I've always bought on my own. This was one of the cards. Gate to Phyrexia was the card I started buying a lot of for about $12 to $15 a card, probably about 6 years ago. And then I kept buying them, 20, 25, 30. And I think I stopped buying Gate Defy Rexies about $40 a card. Because this is just, I think the artwork on this from Sandra is just absolutely stunning. If you really look at the art, I think it's just a wild, weird card. And of course, Enchantment, it's just a weird card that I always thought was going to have some sort of new interaction sometime in the future. And it's reserve list, it's Antiquities, and I always thought it just wasn't appreciated enough. So next we're going to move over, of course, the Dark, the cheapest of the four horsemen. I haven't been following much of the Dark in the last couple months here, I can tell you. I haven't heard of any new attempted buyouts in the Dark. I haven't heard of any real activity. It seems like the Dark is kind of flat right now. We went through a spell. Oh, Goblin Wizard. I think that might even be the most expensive card now. It's so weird how prices change. Blood Moon used to be... Look, Blood Moon and Preacher used to be like the Dark. Like, if you think the Dark, I think, like, if I was young Rudy, if I was a little Rudy whippersnapper, I'd picture Blood Moon, Preacher, probably Ball of Lightning, Eater of the Dead is what I think of when I think of the Dark. Isn't that crazy? Sorrow's Bath, Eternal Flames, Stones. Oh, God. This reminds me of the infamous 2017 with the Narwhals and Frankenstein's Monster. That was a different era when people were really trying to figure out the reserve list booms and spikes and what was going to happen with the buyouts. And then people start buying weird stuff, stone calendars and silly things, which they have held up. A lot of those never went back to their old lows, which they usually never do. I mean, they retrace, but it's still, to me, it's more of a symbolic card of an era now. That's what I look at. Stones. Hey, there's Eater of the Dead. 49 cents. What year was this? See, I swear that's the date. May 27, 2010. 49 cents. Jeez, man. 49 cents. God. Maze of Ith, another stone. It appears that the buyouts and attempts in the Dark... Because do you guys remember? You know, we're going to pause the video here. Do you guys remember the end of 2021? The peak of everything? Actually, we're almost a year. Because this is being filmed in August of 2022. So you guys are probably going to see this in September of 2022 when this video goes live. Which means the transaction for this deal took place probably in May or June of 2022 when I bought these cards. And it was funny because do you guys remember in Q3, Q4 of 2021, which was almost a year ago, the peak of the market, people started doing weird shit. You guys remember? The buyouts and the obsession with revised Fallen Empires, the Dark, Chronicles. Remember that? Anybody remember that stuff? I almost feel like, reflecting now, that should have been like a red flag or a warning light that the market was topping and things were scary. Because I remember making videos saying Revised was the hottest thing. And it wasn't even dual lands in Revised. It was literally like all the other, Brain Geysers, Doppelgangers, Fast Bonds, Forks. Again, not bad cards, but there's a lot out there. You gotta be really careful. Anyways. All right, which brings us to Unlimited and Revised in this little transaction here. So this is something, I remember on this transaction, this is something I run into a lot. People will send me a list. Hey, Rudy, I got these expensive cards. I'm looking for $5,000. I look at it and say, that list, I don't know. I'll give you $4,000. All right, fine. Give me a shipping label. Stuff like that happens all the time. What also happens all the time is I get the cards and they're not unlimited. They're revised or 4th edition. That happens a lot. And obviously the value of the transaction plummets and this and that, which is why you hear me at the beginning of this video, send the old PPs, which is the pictures and prices. I need to see a picture before we ship or get anything moving in the mail. I want to verify that, again, if you say you have all these legends in Arabian Nights, which I've done before, and I say, sure, send them over, and I get 10,000 legends in Arabian Nights, all from Chronicles. So what I thought was going to be like some sort of $50,000 transaction ended up being $150 or something worth of literally Chronicles commons and uncommons. So I've run into that. So if you're into this industry, please, you must know what you're doing. The value of a J. Monde, the value of a tome in Revised versus Unlimited is not like a dollar card to $2. It's a 10, 20x price difference. And if you price something in Unlimited or a partial Unlimited set and you pay someone X amount of thousands and it's a partial revised set, you're going to lose a lot of money. And that's happened. I've had people send me sob stories of people who've literally bought, Rudy, dude, I got a whole set of all these legends and Arabian Nights. Rudy, I only paid $500. And I look at it and it's all Chronicles. I was like, dude, sorry, man, but I wouldn't pay $30. Those are all common uncommons. Chronicles, white border, just because it has the logo, they're not worth anything. And I've had people contact that for $500. I've had people do a $10,000 transaction, and it was actually worth a couple $100s because it was Chronicles or something. So please be careful. If you're uncertain, get a second opinion. Buy graded only. Take it to a store. Make sure you know what you're doing in this stuff. Yes, there's a ton of money in it, and there's a lot of shady people that are not going to be like, hey, man, this is revised. They may not say anything. All right, folks, moving on here. We have Unlimited, Commons, Dark Rituals. Beautiful. And you guys know, I'm super if you're watching this late in the video, I don't think I've ever done an Unlimited Rudy from the Vault. Comment below, because I'll know 16 minutes in if you're an actual hardcore Magic Alpha investment fan, because you won't be watching this late in the video. Hashtag Rudy's Hard Unlimited Collection. Like, I want to see, if you're watching this late, do you want me to do a video just showing my Unlimited collection? I don't think I've ever shown. Like, I think there's 25 Unlimited Black Lotuses, and I know I have like 300 pieces of Unlimited Power or something. I need to do an Unlimited showcase video. I haven't done it from the Vault Rudy in ages, man. Anyways, gorgeous cards. Love them. Buy them. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but I want to show it at least. I get questioned this every couple months. Rudy, ABU basic land. I said, what about it? Obviously, Alpha, anything's worth money. I don't need to ask you that. Beta, anything's worth money. I have to. What about Unlimited in revised basic land? I said, okay. Unlimited basic land, to me, is still at a point where people think it's almost worthless. Like, many buy lists won't even take it. Many buy lists have these at like 10 cents a piece. I have a tremendous position on Unlimited basic land that I've accumulated over years, just like this, from collection buying. Where, these Unlimited basic land, what is this, a couple dollars? There's nothing here. There's no real value in this kind of stuff, even in 2022. But I would not, under any circumstances, recommend investing or collecting revised or newer basic lands. Revised 4th, 5th, 6th, anything newer. Okay, there's just too many. We are in an era where Wizards have shown they will annihilate reprint equity, variances, flashy, to the end of time. They are doing so much. You got to stay away. So basic lands for old ABU, I like it, but only if it's in like a collection, or don't seek it out and spend a lot of money on it. Does that make sense? All right, Unlimited cards. Again, difference between Unlimited and revised, like Forks, Contract, Zombies, Assassins, beautiful Miss Doppelganger. The value difference, even Lightning Bolt, a revised Lightning or 4th edition Lightning Bolt versus Unlimited is huge. Clones. Okay, sinkholes. You can't. Okay, here's a great conversation point. Sinkholes are literally. God, that one looks really saturated. The dark color on there looks overly dark. Sinkholes is one of the greatest land destruction cards ever printed in the history of Magic. There's a reason you haven't seen it again. I think what they did. Didn't they do a Masters Sinkhole, or they did? Anyways, there's a reason you don't see this in like standard. And they don't want to do that very often. In the original artwork, original versions, again. Only white bordered version ever made in history. All right, wrapping this video up, we got a little bit of Alpha Beta. Beta Commons, Shatter, Iconic, Wall. Hey, remember, walls are usually uncommons, except I think Wall of Wood. Giggity. Good old Timmy, Giant Growth in Your Pants, Fog in the Middle of the Night, Stream of Life on a Saturday, Giant Hard Trees for my Bearscape deck, more Grizzly Bears for my Bearscape, Rudy Spiders, and some basic lands. Nothing dramatic here. Nothing gradable gem mint, but just a nice little batch of common uncommons for the beta. To wrap up the video, we got a little bit of alphas I'll show you guys, and I'll have a final comments on this stuff. We have alpha. Remember, alpha anything. I don't even care what it is. Alpha anything. You ever see it, you buy it. If you're stable in this world and you don't need money or whatever it is, and you're not, I mean, you don't have to be a billionaire, but I mean, if you're stable, you don't need the money earmarked for a bill. This is the stuff you hold on to, man. Original. These are the very first Magic cards in history. Now, again, Giant Growth, Tears, Salves, Disintegrate. Hey, Uncommon Clone. That's a nice one. Hal, Dwarves, Bearscape, remember, Original and Holy with Pentagrams, Paralyzed, Rudy Skeletons, Rats, great cards. And, of course, in the back here, in the close, Basic Lands. How Alpha Basic Lands are still under $100 a piece blows my mind. Blows my mind. Well, yes, you in the back. Well, Rudy, there's so many Basic Lands. That's why the price is a hard time moving. Okay. But when people want a set of dual lands, they're going to get 4 for a deck. If people are building a black and blue deck, infamous kind of color scheme, or, black and red type thing, yeah, sure, you have your 4 dual lands. But everyone I've ever known in history who wants Alpha Basic Land, they don't want 4 swamps or 4 mountains or 4 islands. They're going to try to get probably 10 or 20 of each. So yes, while there is a larger supply of basic lands, when it comes to like Alpha, the sheer volume that people need and or want is an interesting variable that isn't the same as every other card, because people tend to buy and want and collect and invest in more than just a 4 of. So, conclusion, Alpha, Beta, anything, we've talked about it a million times. It's such a broken record. I still think, Alpha prices are pretty up there and not really obtainable for the average worker nowadays and the average younger individual. Unlimited and Revised, Beta, a lot of the 4 Horsemen are still pretty relatively cheap. Like I talk about all the time. Like you look at like a Bazaar of Baghdad in Arabian, one of Rudy's infamous cards that he's tied to in the history and blah, blah, blah. I mean, that's a 4 of card. Like if you're going to use it or deck or whatever, I mean, people buy playsets of Bazaars. Well, a Bazaar itself is what? $2,500? $3,000? I mean, minty or graded, probably 4, 5, 6, 7,000. So if you buy a played Bazaar at $2,500, Rudy, that's so much money for a single card, blah, blah, blah. Is it? Is it? Seriously, I'm asking a real question. If a collector box is $300, in a case of collector boxes, a little case of 6 is $1,800, or maybe tax on it, maybe almost $2,000 if you're buying locally or online or whatever. That's almost $2,000 for 6 little boxes of, I don't know, whatever collector box at $2.99 a box. It was Kamigawa, but it went down and whatever. I mean, do you really think the value of a Bazaar Baghdad should be equivalent to like 6 collector boxes? I mean, one little case of 8 double masters collectors is what? $2,500? Right? What are they, $300 a box? Maybe $310, $320 with taxes and fees and shipping. So what? 8 times 300 is 24 at 102. So what, $2,500 for a tiny box of... Here, hold on a second. I got one of these. Hang on. 8 of these in a sealed case are going to cost around $2,500. Maybe 26. Let's just figure $2,500. Are 8 of these worth the same as a Bazaar Baghdad? That's the question. Or are the old cards not properly aligned and priced in comparison and relative to newer products? And that's something that we've done conversations, and I have more videos coming on. Because think about this. With inflation and things, with all new Magic releases, draft boxes are essentially $100 plus moving forward. It is what it is. Anything less, well, congratulations. And you can't sell draft boxes or set boxes for essentially $80, $90 anymore. Because Wizards has raised the price so much, it's just not possible. I mean, you can do it to lure people in and sell them as a loss leader. I've done that before. Or just try to get it off the books and take a 10, 20% haircut. I mean, every store and business has done that in retail. That's just part of life. So, yeah, but with all the sets and inflation and prices going up so much, and I'm going to end the video here, but I'm going to say it again. Do you really think that Zendikar Rising, Kaldheim, Strixhaven, Adventures Forgotten Realm, Midnight Hunt, Crimson Val, Kamigawa, Streets of Barry Manilow, all these sets that are clearance, fire sale, doesn't sell, 2021 era, because of the boom and bust, you really think all these things at $70, $80, $90 a box, and people still think they're toxic assets? Blows my mind. And now everything new, the prices have been raised so much, everything new is 100 plus. So you're in a weird situation where those boxes are priced below everything. Inflation's made everything go up. Wizards has raised prices, and yet these All these products are just like this toxic thing nobody wants. I think Rudy's probably the only one with these giant heavy bags, and everyone's like, ha 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 ha. I don't know. My instinct, I feel like it's going to be some sort of Rudy's Pokemon Bathroom 2.0, where it's going to take about a year or two. Because remember, folks, I'll end the video after this. I'm rambling. I'm sorry. The Pokemon Rudy Bathroom of all the XY era Pokemon that I had, I don't know, 30, 40,000 worth of Pokemon at wholesale, and I couldn't sell it worth a shit. Patrons didn't buy it. I tried to sell Roaring Skies for $79. I even did a Black Friday or a clearance sale or Pokemon and for $69 a box, and I couldn't even sell XY era sealed boxes. I gave up. I put them on eBay, sold one or two. I think both people returned them with buyer's remorse and, apologized. I was like, okay, I'm done. Threw them all in the bathroom. And now again, it took 3 years of sitting in that bathroom. And suddenly, it went from a toxic asset to people begging for it. That's why I did the Rudy bathroom video. Because it was such a crazy U-turn. And no, I didn't see it coming. No, I'm not going to pretend like I can predict the future. I had no idea. But it's an important life lesson. It's an important situation to see that a product from 3 years earlier was deemed toxic and garbage, and I couldn't sell it at a loss. 3 years later, I still get messages. Rudy, can I have a case of Pokemon Evolution, 6 boxes? I'll give you 3,000. Paid crypto, no fees. Rudy, can I have a case of Roaring Skies? I'll give you 3,000. I mean, crazy stuff. Crazy stuff, man. I couldn't sell those cases for $400. And it's important to understand markets and attitudes and perspectives are going to change over the next 24 months. And everything you are seeing today and all these clearance price garbage, fire sale, toxic world, everything's going to zero. I'm telling you all, I've done this my whole life. I've been in the cardboard world now for over 25 years since I was in high school. This is not going to last. The market's going to turn, and it's going to turn out of nowhere when we all least expect it. I don't think it's going to be anytime soon. So if you're trying to think you're going to buy something or flip or get rich, I don't think that's going to happen. I think you're going to be disappointed. It's going to take time, folks. This is not an overnight 10x my money in dog coins, meow. Wait, that was a cat coin. I don't know. It's not. We're back to normal. Expect slow and normal things like they're supposed to be. Hope you learned something today. Seriously, folks. Are you guys interested in seeing an From the Vault Rudy Unlimited Edition? Because I haven't even looked at my Unlimited cards probably since 2021. I haven't even pulled them out and looked at them. I haven't even pulled it out. So he said, I kind of miss it. Now I'm thinking about it. And that's something you guys want to see. When I pull them out and go through them, I'll turn the camera on and let you guys join me.